Hello everyone, and welcome to another video of Confronting Chaos, a series of partner videos to Chaos fight footage to outline the enemies and explain why characters are boosted. In this video, I'll be going over the Amidatelion event Chaos Fight, so let's get into it. This Chaos Fight is divided into two waves. The first wave is against one prominence and two small prominences, and the second wave is against two bag slugs. If you've done Dimensions End Entropy Tier 1, you know exactly how annoying the prominence can be. They sensibly resist fire and are weak to water, and all brave attacks they use are magic. Let them have bravery for a turn, and they will HP attack you. Let the main prominence grow all the way up to level 3 and it gets dangerous, so it needs to be broken, while the little ones will either target the main one to give it bravery, or target the party to do an attack. Thankfully though, these bombs don't have a lot of defense or HP, so they go down fairly easily. The Bag Slug is the main boss for this fight. They are tough to ranged attacks and resist earth attacks. Their gimmick is at the start of the fight, one of them will do Mucus Charge, a field effect that will delay the next turn of each party member after they do an action, no matter what it is. So even a move with instant turn rate, that character will still get delayed one turn. They have an enhanced version that they'll do once one of them is killed that delays 2 turns instead, so they are absolutely an enemy type you want to try and kill simultaneously. All of their brave attacks are magic, and they actually only have 1 HP attack that's a bit telegraphed. Like turtle enemies, they will retreat into their shells, raising their defenses and increasing their bravery. From there, they have 2 options. If they have bravery, they'll do Wallop, their only HP attack. If they're broken, they'll do Caustic Fluid. They have 2 group attacks, and for the sake of safety, you should battery the party before either one. As for one of them, if a target gets broken, they will get extra delayed 1 turn. With the enemies covered, let's check out the featured units. Amidatelion arrives with this event, and is a very unique support. They do not offer any form of healing or true offensive buffs. However, they can apply up to 4 frame debuffs fairly easily, have strong regen and battery options, and the most unique part of their kit is the ability to delete enemy turns. While effectively just another form of delay, turn deletion is a bit stronger than delay, since some enemies can resist being delayed, such as Alexander once it's put up its shields. Their EX plus limit breaks help out a fair amount, as Amidatelion can put out a useful amount of damage. Realization improves the EX cast and adds base overflow, which is very useful since the cast itself does total damage to all enemies. 1 ingot is a stat boost, while 2 ingots give starting buff for Amidatelion and 3 starting debuffs onto enemies. 3 ingots further improves the EX cast with even more strength, overflow, and improves Amidatellion's enhanced basic attacks to gravity more, raise more, and battery more. Amidatelion LD is the flashy delete all enemy turns move that got people talking about them in the first place. On use, it deletes all next enemy turns, batteries the party based on Amidatellion's max bravery, deals total damage to all enemies, applies a 4th frame debuff, and applies a framed regen and overflow aura to Amidatelion. The passive stat boost for this LD is party attack, and the regen buff is fairly long lasting, going up to 12 turns per cast. Lael is the original launching enabler, long before Incase. He can apply a speed down debuff as well as a force debuff that makes it easier to launch enemies. He can battery, delay, and have a high chance of inflicting launch with his skill 2, and can assuredly launch any enemy and set up the rest of the enemies using his EX. Deuce is a support who can actually add a fair amount of attack and initial bravery to the party. However, she doesn't do much else besides that. She does also have an overflow increase aura and can battery fairly easily, but in terms of offense, she doesn't provide much. She also doesn't have healing and would prefer to stick with magic damage units, as one of her buffs is generic magic attack up. As for the team I chose, here's the breakdown. Lael makes this fight a fair bit more manageable thanks to launches for increased damage and more turn control. Since he's boosted, that means his battery and overall brave ceiling were higher, which helped greatly with his EX doing group brave attacks. Setting up launches is always fun, especially with units who can do things like group attacks or provide battery to start their own launches. His speed down is also handy in giving the team a few more turns even with all of the slug delays. Aphmau I figured would counter the slug's 1 turn delay after every action, and she kind of did. Since she gets instant turns, her turn stays in place when she has her unique effect, albeit of course she is also affected by the 1 turn delay even when doing her no turn rate moves. It still ended up okay though, and since she has group attack options, she can keep launch markers up to allow more effective next turn launches. She also provided just enough healing whenever it was needed. Garland is the main man for damage in this team. His LD is helpful since the effect reduces enemy defense, useful for when the slugs go into their shells, wait, I thought it was snails who have shells, and it also adds to the speed down provided by Lael. He has a really good skill longevity thanks to his LD, and an interesting thing I realized is that if he has Soul of Conflict up, he'll delay targets even in a launch, which means pushing the slugs back even more, Not to mention, launches will give him a lot of battery thanks to Pandemonium. His single target damage is also great, and even at 0 Incase, his EX cast deals acceptable damage. With that, this Chaos fight should be covered. If you want to see my footage of this fight, I'll link it in the corner and in the description below. If you liked what you saw and want to see future fights, subscribe so they show up as they're made. If you have any suggestions or thoughts, drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.